Tonight we're going over practice and problem solving 1.2. Let's see. The first part says to write decimal equivalents for each rational number. Well, to do this, all we do is simply take the numerator and divide it by the denominator. The numerator is 2. And the denominator is 3. Remember, every fraction is really a division problem. So let's see how that works out. Well, 2 divided by 3. If we do that, we realize we have to put a decimal there. Well, 3 goes into 2 6 times to give us 18. And then every time we get a remainder, it's going to be 2 again, which means 0.666 repeating, right? And we can write that out as a decimal by putting 0.6 with a line over it. Number 8. This time we have 8 and 4/9. Well, we can do this by realizing that 8 is still going to stay the same. 4/9 is basically 4 divided by 9. And if we do that, we realize we have to take our decimal, put it there, bring it up. 9 goes into 40. Well, 4 times, right? Because that'll give us 36, and that'll give us a remainder of 4. And look at that. Once more, we got 0.4. And then we're going to have to take that again, 4 again, 4 again. That means we have 0.4 repeating. So we can put 8.4 repeating over the 4. Remember, we don't put it over the 8 because the 8's not repeating. Let's go to number 10. Which should Aaron use to convert a fraction to a decimal? Well, remember, when converting a fraction to a decimal, we take the top number, which is the numerator, divide it by the bottom number. Right? We did that over here with number 6. So let's look for those. This one said denominator divided by the numerator. That's not right. Denominator divided by the numerator times 100. That's not right. Numerator divided by the denominator. That is absolutely right. And numerator divided by denominator times 100. No. So C would be the correct answer on that one. Let's go to number 12 now. Determine whether the given number belongs to each. So we have to ask ourselves, are we talking about negative 34 as a whole number? Well, whole numbers are 0 and up. So that does not fit the criteria for a whole number. Is it an integer? Well, integers are all the negative whole numbers and all the whole numbers plus all the opposites of them, which are the integers. So that would be yes, because that is a negative number. Is it a rational number? A rational number is any number that I can ask you to write. That's a rational request for me to ask of you. So that is also a yes. We're off to number 14 now. 14 says consider the rational number 3 over 11. Well, what are the values of A and B in B divided by A? Well, remember, when you're using division to find a decimal, it's the numerator divided by the denominator. This means the numerator is B, and the denominator must be A. So in this case, A equals 11, and B has to equal 3. Well, now they're saying to write this in decimal form, 3 divided by 11. And if we did, that's simply 3 divided by 11. And we can see that we'd have to put the decimal there. Well, that's going to give us 2, because 22 goes into 30, which gives us a remainder of 8. Now that would be 7, because 77 goes into 80, which gives us a remainder of 3. We've got the 3 again, which is going to give us 2 once more. And you know where this is going, right? And that's going to leave us 8 again, which will give us 7 once more. You see the repeating decimals are 2727. So in this case, our answer will be 0.27 repeating. We'll put a line over both of them since both the 2 and the 7 repeat. Number 16 says, at a butcher shop, Hilda bought beef and pork. She left with 18 and 8/25 pounds of meat. Express the number of pounds of pork that she bought using decimals. Well, we've got 18 and 8/25 pound of beef. But as we can see here, she bought 8 and 17/20 pounds of it is beef. So now we have to subtract the 18 and 8/25. We're going to have to subtract 8 and 17 from it, or over 20 from it, to find our answer. So first, let's put these in decimal form, make it easier on us, okay? And if I was to go ahead and take, because they are saying to express it as a decimal, if I took 18 and 8/25, well, that would be 8 divided by 25, right? 8 divided by 25, and what would that give us? Well, the decimal would come up. Well, 3 times 25 is 75. That'll give us 5 left over. And then 25 times 2 would give us 50. So that would give us 0.32. So this is 18.32 is the decimal equivalent of 18 and 8/25. Now let's see what 18 and 17/20 is. Well, again, we know that 8 is going to be 8. Remember, we're subtracting this so we can find out how much is left in the pork. So this is going to be 17 divided by 20. Well, we would have to put our decimal there. How many times does 20 go into 170? Well, I would say 6 would be 120, so we're talking about 8 really, right? Which would give us 160. Right? And that's going to leave us 1.0 left over. Well, we're going to have to add a 0, and that would allow us to have 20 times 5 would give us 100, which means that's 0.85. Got a remainder of 0 there, so we can stop. So this is going to be 8.85. And now we're ready to subtract. Let's make that look a little bit more like a 5. Well, if we subtract, I see I have to borrow one from here, borrow one from there, borrow one from there. So that's going to turn this into, let's see, well, if we borrow one from there, that's going to give us 9 left over here, right? This is going to turn to 0. This would be 18, and this would be, 17 left over. So 17 minus 8 would be 9. And now we have to ask ourselves, if we put 1 here and borrow it, that's going to leave us 12. Well, 12 minus 8 is 4. Remember, we're borrowing 1 over here now. And that's going to leave us 12 minus 7 will give us, or 12 minus 5 will give us 7. Let's double check that, okay? I'm going to use our calculator just to make sure that I've done my math right. And we can see that if we had 18.32, and we subtracted 8.85, we would get 9.47. Oh, we got the answer right. So that means the pork that was bought at the butcher shop, there is 9.47 pounds, right? We're dealing with pounds of pork. Okay. All right, let's move on to number 18. Aiden has one box that is 3 3/11 feet tall, a second box which is 3 2/7 feet tall. If he stacks the box, about how tall will this, it be? Well, first of all, let's find out what 3 3/11 is. Well, we know it's going to be at least 3, and 3 divided by 11. I think we've done this before, haven't we? I think that we have. If we come up here, 3 divided by 11 gave us 0.27 repeating. I don't think it's going to change any here. 0.0, that's going to give us 22. With the remainder 8, which would have 0.7. And look at that, same number we got before, right? And with 3 being left, we can see we're going to get 0.7 repeating. So this is 3.27, and it's going to repeat, so it'll be 27, 27, repeating, right? And then we have to put that on top of this box, which is 3.27. If we were to add this up, that would be 7, 2, 4, carry the 1, it'd be 5, and 6. If we round it off to the nearest hundredth, we're really talking about 6.54 feet tall. Okay? All right, let's move on. Number 20 says, high order thinking. Dion has a pizza with a diameter of 10 1/3 inch. 10 1/3 inch. Is the square box shown big enough to fit the pizza? Well, we have to find out what 10 1/3 is and see if it's smaller than 10.38. Well, we know that the pizza is at least 10, all right? And we can say then that 10 1/3 is going to be 1 divided by 3. And if we use our decimal there, we see that 3 goes into 10 3 times. That gives us 9, which gives us a remainder of 1. And look, we're going to be repeating that over and over again, which is going to give us 0.3 repeating, right? 3 goes on forever. So that's 0.333. And 0.38 is bigger than 0.33. So that tells me that, yes, the box is big enough. And why? Because the box is 10.38, which is bigger than the pizza, which is 10.3 repeating. Look at that. Well, I've done all my homework. Time for you to finish yours. See you in class, and have a good night. Oh, before I forget, let's put a secret code word in here. The secret code word for tonight is going to be, I'm going to look at my printer here. My printer is an HP DeskJet 3052A. Oops. So, the secret code word for tonight that I want you to put on your homework is HP DeskJet 3052A. You have that on your homework, and you'll get a treat from me tomorrow. Have a great night.